Turn one soul ring.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite artwork from Goblin Grenade. I'm going to go with Fallen Empires number 56B. It looks like there's a goblin. It could be a lady or a man, given some kind of barbarian, what looks like a literal grenade. I like this one a lot.
Well, that one's really good.
I don't suppose we could teach them to throw the cursed things? ?
Ivor Jur's daughter. You know what? I'm going to have to go with you on that art. That's the best one.
I think it is the best one, yeah. Riley, what do you think? Which one is your favorite?
I think my favorite... Sorry, which one did you say? 56?
56B.
56B? Oh, that's pretty kooky. I really like 56A. That's just a classic. Like, I remember finding that in my collection. I was like, yeah, this is a dope card. That looks like a real goblin grenade. It's just this spiky-ass goblin with a spiky-ass grenade strapped to his back.
It's going to blow.
I remember one of the first times I went to play Modern and someone goblin grenaded their opponent for the kill. I was sitting adjacent to them at the table, and the opponent, the player that was getting goblin grenaded, went to target the sacrificed goblin, and I was like, sorry, dude, you're dead. Like, we target it with a kill spell? No.
Yeah.
No, it's part of the casting cost.
Part
I'm sorry.
of the casting cost,
Yeah. And that young man learned a valuable lesson that day.
He did. He'll remember that forever.
He probably wasn't reading the Oracle text. He was probably looking at like the original printing and being like, "Oh, well, this is an effect from the sorcery being cast."
Yeah, probably. He probably had like his background on his phone was probably the artwork from Fallen Empires number 56B.
Just pulls it up and he's like, "Yeah, this works."
All right, we are going to get this going. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Turn One Soul Ring. I'm Kevin.
Hey, I'm Eric.
And I'm Riley.
And today on the show, we're going to talk all about our favorite cards from the upcoming JumpStart Booster set. It's filled with some great new cards as well as some much-needed reprints, a lot like Core 2021, which is still very fresh in our minds because it was just released yesterday, it feels like. We are also going to go over some set details, some of the best 2-pack synergies you can expect to get, and some fun ones. Then we'll go over some notable reprints, some of the new cards, and a bit of Magic news. But before we get to those topics, Eric, how can listeners get in touch with us?
You can find us over at Turn One Soul Ring the Podcast on Instagram, Turn One Soul Ring the Podcast at gmail.com, and then check us out over on YouTube. We put everything up there. Type in Turn One Soul Ring the Podcast. That's the part to make sure you add.
That's right. So we're going to kick things off today with talking about the B&R announcement that was made earlier today, and there's quite a few cards on the list here. We have an unbanning, which is always fun.
Yeah.
You don't see that too often. So starting with historic, Agent of Treachery, Winota, Joiner of Forces, and Fires of Invention were moved from their suspended status to being fully banned. Nexus of Fate was banned, no suspension, and Burning Tree Emissary is also suspended, not quite banned yet.
What?
Okay. Are you saying what to the suspension mechanism?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, you've got Nexus of Fate and Burning Tree right next to each other. One is banned immediately. One is suspended. I mean, not that I'm going to miss Nexus of Fate by any means. It's a horrible card, but yeah, just the whole banned suspension thing again doesn't really make much sense. But whatever.
Well, this time they know that Nexus of Fate is such like an overpowered card, and people don't like to see it. That instead of suspending it, they can just ban it right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think it's just a boring card.
It is. It is a little bit of an unusual mechanism, and definitely something that we're not used to seeing. But in Pioneer, Oath of Nissa was unbanned. In Modern, Arkham's Astrolabe was banned. And in Pauper, Expedition Map and Mystic Sanctuary were both banned. So a lot of cards, and basically the historic format, what they break down in this announcement, and we can link this in the show notes. The format, like to what you guys were saying about the suspension, the historic format apparently responded positively to these cards being suspended, and because they're so powerful and they see them as being so format warping, and because the new cards being introduced in the historic format will make cards like this that much better, they just decided to ban them. And that's also basically the rationale they have behind just banning Nexus of Fate right off the bat. But I do agree that if you're going to do that, just ban Gruul Aggro, Burning Tree Emissary. Don't ban the whole deck.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to see them... Like, Burning Tree Emissary seems like such a low-power creature, but it is like a free 2/2 that you're getting.
Yeah, and it does really...
And so...
Yeah, it gives you that, really aggro start if you get it down as early as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And so I guess we'll see... Like, if they're thinking that it's making the deck too good early on and they're just going to try suspending it, I don't know what that's going to do for bringing back the card because they're already taking it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd think it would just... If the deck is still workable and is still competitive without Burning Tree Emissary, and, like you said, they have to make some changes to it so that it still works well, and then you just throw that card back in, isn't the deck just going to be better than it was before?
Yeah, it would.
Do you think so? So, but it sounds like too in this announcement that the vacuum left by the suspension of Winota, Agent, and Fires of Invention was kind of filled by Nexus and Gruul Aggro decks, and they also talk about Wilderness Reclamation in conjunction with Nexus of Fate. Those two cards are working really well together, and we all know about that. And that it's a very powerful card, but it's not like the linchpin of the deck, and that's why it wasn't targeted for a suspension or banning. But I do agree with what you said, Riley, about Nexus of Fate just being like an unfun card to play against, and they really do. I think it's clear that they do take a hard look at cards like that and just don't want them in formats where they are format warping, because no one's going to want to play.
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing to be said about a combo that is hard to interact with that kills you, like right off the bat. There's another thing where you literally have to sit there for, turn upon turn while they play out this undeterministic combo. Whether or not it fizzles, it's hard to say, but you're going to be there for another half an hour at least.
Yeah, it just feels like a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah, that's what really makes this card really fun, because with that combo, you're just taking extra turns hoping to find the next card, like, as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. That could be a long time.
I mean, that's assuming that you've built the deck with a next card.
Yeah. And, obviously seeing the things from suspended to ban just, makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And they also say here at the end of the historic portion of this announcement, excuse me, at the end of the historic portion of this announcement, that the window for suspension, that a card will stay suspended, is between 2 and 3 months now. And at that point, they'll either decide to reinstate the card or ban the card, ban it out completely. Have they reinstated any cards from suspension in any formats?
Yeah, not yet.
Well, Field of the Dead, didn't they?
Maybe they did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Field of the Dead was suspended in historic and brought back because they had introduced other land hate.
Right.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. System works. Proof is in the pudding.
Well, honestly, they could have just unbanned it.
I know, too, because I didn't know this, but they give you wild card redemption cards when it gets unbanned. And as someone who plays a digital card game, if they were to do that, obviously they can't just nerf cards like Hearthstone because they have the paper anchor. But when they ban a card and they give everybody the wild card of equivalent rarity, I'm assuming, then the card gets unbanned. So those players are happy because they still have their cards that were previously banned, and they have their wild cards that they may have redeemed or not, whatever. And then if the card then gets banned again, that player's going to, I would be even less upset about it because it's already been banned once. So it's kind of in my mind, it's on the list. And then I just get another wild card redemption card. So I'm happy. I'm not sweating it. It's like in Hearthstone when something gets moved to a card gets Hall of Famed and you just get the dust for it, it's like it's no big deal. I can still play it in Wild. I agree. Like you could just ban and unban cards. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and I guess that's thinking about it digitally. Like they don't want to keep giving people wild cards for banning, unbanning, and banning.
Yeah.
So if they suspend it, because I don't think you get the wild cards until it's officially banned.
I think so. Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that and that's you're probably right about that. Absolutely, they don't want to be giving away free Magic cards, right?
nope, bad for business.
So let's move on to Pioneer. Oath of Nissa was unbanned, and
Nissa.
It sounds like Oath of Lisa. So it was banned really early on in the after the format was announced, and I guess they just feel like it's not going to be too powerful in those Nykthos Shrine to Nyx decks, ramp decks. I suppose. I don't know. I haven't played a lot of Pioneer.
Yeah, I remember when Oath of Nissa was legal. I think the challenge with it was it just made like multicolor Planeswalker decks a thing. Mm-hmm. It just helped fix for whatever Planeswalker that you wanted to play on turn 3, turn 4.
Yeah, no, just
So now you can play some cool Super Friends kind of thing again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Oko's not there, so
yeah.
But I mean, 3 Fairy's still there, so
Yep.
And he always will be.
Yeah.
Just right there, hanging out.
So let's move on to Modern. I don't really have a ton to say about Astrolabe. I've always heard it was a problem. I've never played against it myself, but I do know that it obviously fixes mana really good, and it just makes those good stuff 4 mana or 4 color decks really good, and it replaces itself by drawing you a card. But I wonder too if Mystic Sanctuary will get banned in Modern in the near future, just kind of following in Astrolabe's footsteps, because it was banned in Pauper first, I believe.
Yeah. It seems to be that Pauper is the first place to ban cards before Modern initially, until they realize that it's a little broken. Yeah.
I will say that I'm glad to see Astrolabe gone. I thought there was going to be maybe like 1 or 2 more bans.
Like what?
So I don't know. Well, I mean, like Uro just needs to go away as well.
Well, they didn't even touch him in Standard. Why would they touch him in Modern?
I understand. I was just saying before this announcement happened, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that we would have seen, and even in Standard, I thought like maybe just lots of people are saying that card is unfun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
But it's good to see Astrolabe gone because it was fixing decks very, very easily. And then like the banned decks were also just like, because Astrolabe fixes mana so well, they would actually just, also have Blood Moons in the main now. Just that's their only red card because Astrolabe fixes mana so well.
It's amazing
nasty.
when you see greedy 4-color decks playing Blood Moon.
That's when you
like,
know
what?
it's a problem.
Yeah.
And then it did. It was another permanent in the deck to kind of really trigger the Ice Fang Codal, which is a really strong little card.
Right,
and of course
Horizons.
those decks are just gonna be running Urza as well, and then Astrolabe just
Astrolabe turns into a piece of ramp for Urza.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, fun card.
Fun times.
Great card. Great common. Super powerful.
And it replaces itself too.
That's very.
It's so
very
good. I did also want to note that everyone's really hoping for that Splinter Twin, and again, no Splinter Twin unban, so we got some sad faces.
Yeah, and it's on Discord. Somebody was saying that it's just creeping up in price.
Yeah, I was looking today, and they're sold out for $30 Canadian and such.
Wow,
everywhere. Yeah,
it might be time to buy a box of Rise of the Eldrazi. Maybe get a nice OG foil one.
Yeah.
No, don't.
And get some actual Eldrazi along with it.
No. If you buy a box of that, don't open it. It's worth way more.
Unless you're gonna draft.
Yeah, then you can do it. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Pauper here. We have like we said, Expedition Map and Mystic Sanctuary are banned now, and the last year's ban when Gush, Gitaxian Probe, and Daze were banned, something had to fill that power vacuum, and that apparently was Tron decks and their hope in this announcement, they're hoping that with the banning of expedition maps, Tron decks will become less popular because without it, they'll definitely be a lot less consistent. And I got to say about Mystic Sanctuary, it's just a really unfun card to play against if it's being played competitively, whether it's Pauper or Modern. Just getting that lock really is not fun. You know, it's like, I know I've probably lost, but I don't really want to concede and give my opponent the satisfaction.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a hard lock by any means, right? So it always there's that glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
That it's like, you know, if I draw 2 spells and I manage to, you know, put them back to back and they can only counter one, then maybe I've got a bit of an edge, you know.
So you're saying I have a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this today too, just that cycle and what those lands give you, and just how so much more powerful the blue one compared to the other colors is just kind of crazy.
What does the green one give you? A food token?
Yeah. and the white one gives you a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And then the red one gives you a 1/1 dwarf.
Yeah.
And the black one, which is cottage. I don't remember.
It puts a creature on top. It's like Mortuary Mire.
From your graveyard. Yeah, that's probably the next best one after blue, but
yeah. And it's even putting on top of the deck, but they're like Mystic Sanctuary. Yeah, you know, a spell back in your hand. That seems fine. Like,
yeah.
All
Who's
right.
responsible for the cycle?
But Expedition Map, that's kind of it kind of hurts me a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
that's a personal attack on Riley, everybody.
Yeah. No, like I know why they did it. I mean, Flickertron is pretty horrible to play against.
Yeah.
You know, when they start creating their own loops with like Ghostly Flicker and like Mnemonic Wall and whatever instant want a loop. But I guess for me, like I had an Eldrazi Tron deck, and that deck was a lot of fun to play. So I'll have to look at it and see if there's a way to make it at all playable without Expedition Map.
Yeah, because your build was not degenerate in any way.
No, it's like big dumb creatures.
Yeah, and I don't even want to say that like building a deck where you have a loop where you lock your opponent out of the game is a degenerate thing to do. I mean that like the Wizards of the Coast prints the cards and we play with them, and if you you know, sometimes oftentimes in the most competitive formats you have to put the cards together in the most competitive way so that you win, and it's not degenerate. That's just a word we use in a fun way.
Yeah, you degenerate.
Yeah.
Be degenerate.
Yeah, why don't you pay your child support? Jeez. Stop buying Magic cards. Okay, guys, if we're all done with the B&R announcement, we can move on with the rest of this damn episode.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Okay, just one more thing before we get to the meat here. We have a new giveaway starting today that is just for listeners, although I guess if somebody listened to the show, they could then tell someone who doesn't listen to the show about the giveaway, but we're not going to split hairs.
But they'd be listeners by proxy, right?
That's right. That counts.
I think so.
And if you are a listener by proxy, wherever you listen by proxy, rate and review us, please. So the winner will be getting the full Dexplain treatment, which means if you email us a deck list anytime during the month of July, you'll be entered to win this giveaway. And at the end of the month, we'll choose a deck list randomly and dedicate an entire Dexplained episode to that deck. We'll break it down and make suggestions based on some questions that we'll ask you once we've chosen the winner. And it can be any deck. It can be a deck that is really well-oiled and synergistic, or a deck that needs a bit of doctoring. In any case, if you email us your list anytime during the month of July, you'll be entered into this giveaway. We'll announce the winner at the top of our first episode release in August, and we'll release the episode featuring the giveaway winner's deck the following week or the week after that, but shortly thereafter. And we'll get in touch with you in that time, that intern time, to ask you some questions about the deck so that we know what we're getting into. And if this is something that listeners enjoy, we'll keep doing it. Also, if you have any additional questions about the giveaway, You can include them in your email with your deck list, or you can just email us to ask any additional questions. It doesn't just have to be about the giveaway. So let's move on to the set details of JumpStart. If you listen to our...
I was going to say, boy, what a different set.
If you listen to our core 2021 set review, then you know that JumpStart is closely related to core set 2021. It is mostly a reprint set with a few new cards that we'll be talking about shortly. The 37 new cards will not be legal in Standard, Pioneer, or Modern. They will only be legal in the Eternal formats, which, correct me if I'm wrong, are Vintage, Legacy, and Commander, and Pauper. Right?
And Pauper, yeah.
And Pauper.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Pauper, everybody.
Them commons.
Yeah. It's my third favorite format.
Ooh.
Is that an episode? Like we'll do a tier list of our formats?
Yeah, I'd be down.
All right, I'm putting it in the book. In addition to the 37 new cards, there are another 20 cards in the set that are paper exclusive, meaning that those cards won't show up in JumpStart packs on MTG Arena. Instead, WotC has decided to replace those 20 cards for Arena with somewhat less powerful cards, which is basically what they said their reasoning is for doing paper exclusives and digital exclusives, respectively.
Yeah, basically, like, because the cards are going to be able to use in the historic format. And historic, I think, is still kind of like a smaller format. So throwing some certain powerful cards in there can kind of like really skew things. So they're trying to stay away from that, which is understandable.
Yeah, it's understandable that they don't have Reanimate and Shieldred in the same format.
And Lightning Bolt, isn't Lightning Bolt a paper exclusive as well?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few spicy ones, including Time to Feed.
What is Time to Feed?
It's just not a great card. It's like
Time to Feed.
Tuna green, a fight card, but if the creature would die this turn, you gain 3 life.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot of life. Yeah, and some of the cards in JumpStart are new to Arena, and some of them aren't, and they just for reasons we already said, that's why they're doing this. And you can find the complete list of the 20 cards or 40 cards total online. And the ones that are exclusive to the paper packs and the ones that are exclusive to the digital packs. What I love about this set and what makes it so unique is that it mixes an easy way of deck building with the shuffle up and play speed of a constructed format. It essentially lets you skip the deck building portion of Magic, which doesn't appeal to everyone, and that's fine. And even the people that it does appeal to, sometimes you just don't have time to do it. It is time consuming.
Yeah, or even just the idea of introducing somebody new to Magic and just giving them a couple packs, letting them crack it open, and cracking some open yourself and just playing. Like it makes it super accessible.
Yeah, it is this set is a really just an amazing entry point for new players. I agree.
Oh yeah, totally. That's what's really cool about it, and it can be really fun. Because then again, if you just have a night with some friends, you're like, hey, let's just get some JumpStart packs and play some Magic. The other thing that I think I'm looking forward to doing is cracking the packs and having a way of not seeing which themes I got, just shuffling together and playing, and just randomly seeing what you get as you play.
Yeah, just don't sleeve up the title card.
Yeah. I'm going to have to see how they open.
They do open where the title card is the packs themselves. There's a plastic packaging around the 20 cards inside of the booster pack packaging. So you have to then open that, and that packaging is transparent, and right on the front is the theme card.
Yeah, so I want to keep that theme card face away at all times somehow.
Yeah, you have to open it backwards. Or we could get, if we wanted to do that, we could get somebody to open all the packs and make the decks and then give them to us.
Oh, yeah.
That could work too. Anyways, each booster pack contains 20 cards with 7 or 8 of the cards being land. So what you'll do is grab 2 of them, shuffle them together, and play with your brand new 40 card limited deck. Or if you want to keep it forever, it could be your forever deck. There are no foils in this set, unfortunately, and it was designed as a 2-player format, but, like anything else, you can take the multiplayer route with it if you want to. Each 20
Heck
card.
yeah.
Yeah, like we were just talking about. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Each 20 card booster pack has a theme, and the themes have different rarities from common to mythic. Most themes are monocolored and have variations of cards in their packs, totaling 121 different pack variation contents across the entire set. So that's the entire set. That's how many different pack variations there can be, all the way from common to mythic. That being said, there with the mythic rare packs specifically, there are no variations of cards, and with mythic rare packs especially, and as the packs get more rare, you'll get multiple colors in those packs. There are 46 different pack themes. Common themes are represented 4 times in different variations among the 121 variations, and rare themes are represented twice. Mythic themes are represented only once. The variant deck lists of a given theme always have the same general flavor, mana curve, and game plan. So even though you may have slightly different cards in your vampire packs, they'll still play out roughly the same way.
They'll still have vampires in them.
They better. I hope so.
Your vampire pack will still have vampires.
So before we get to the individual cards that we want to talk about today, we're going to go over some of our favorite 2-theme combinations you could end up with in your limited deck. Eric, let's start with you.
All right, so first off, I just have some fun ones that I thought would be pretty sweet. And so first off, we're going with a mythic and then a rare. So in the mythic spot is if you end up getting the rainbow set, and then under rare there is a lands theme. And so just like looking at the themes, so rainbow is the only one that is a multicolor set.
Yeah.
It has a bunch of like 5 color cards in it.
Yeah, like Chamber Sentry and Maelstrom Archangel.
Yeah, and then what's the other one? The Fusion Elemental. That's an 8/8 for only 5 mana.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Look at that thing. Yeah, 8/8 vanilla.
Yeah. But of course, having the lands set there really helps you. There's a couple cards where when you play out the creature, you get to search for a basic, and then it also has a cultivate as well to like help you get more basics out as well. So you're able to really get those colors. So you're able to play those big cards that the rainbow deck is able to offer you. So
Yeah, and there's like Oracle of Moldiah, so you can drop some extra lands.
dropping extras.
Ooh, nice. Uvenwald Hydra. That needed a reprint. I like it.
All right, Riley, or you got any for us?
Oh, yeah. Riley, what do you got?
What do you got?
What you got? What you got?
I got a few. I've got a few. I'll just list them off here, and I'll point out a couple.
Number
fun ones.
1, Goblin Grenade.
All right.
56A. All right, so we've got Teferi Mill, so mono blue. Phyrexian Reanimated, mono black. Spooky Devilish, which would be Rakdos. Well-Read Wizards. Basari Dogs. Heavily Armored +1. Predatory Devilish, and Discarding Reanimated. So, I mean...
Wait, did you give names to yours?
Yeah, I'm just... It's just the name combinations.
It's the combinations of the themes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's Basri Dogs. It's not Basari Dogs.
Yeah, come on.
I have a typo.
Oh, okay, all good.
All right. But Spooky Devilish, I mean, that's demons and death triggers mixed with devils, which obviously care about dying as well.
Yeah, well, that's a very good combo.
Phyrexian Reanimated. Of course, I mean, reanimating a Shieldred is going to sour your opponent's mood.
Heck yeah.
Heavily Armored +1. Heavily Armored cared a lot about counters, and +1 obviously cares a lot about counters and doubling counters. So I felt like that would just be a big counters deck.
That's also a double common one, so it could be easy to get.
Yeah. We've got Well-Read Wizards. Kind of like
I think that's the best. That's the best named one, unless we're counting Basari dogs. That's my favorite.
Got that Basari.
But well read is all about cart draw, and wizards is all about wizards doing what wizards do best. So I thought those would be pretty fun.
Oh wow, I didn't even know Riptide Laboratory was reprinted. Do you remember when Commander 2017 came out and this card just skyrocketed in value?
I do not.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy. Anyways, sorry to go on a tangent.
Yeah. How dare you?
All right, yeah, and I guess I can just go through mine here. Another Phyrexian one is with Witchcraft, because again, Witchcraft has a lot of the sacrifice stuff that's going on, and Graveyard Recursion in that one as well. So it goes well with the Sheldra being able to bring stuff back. And Witchcraft has some removal cards in it, which can also help out a lot with obviously getting there. That one's also a mythic and a rare, so it might be a little bit harder to get.
You can do it though. I think you can do it.
Yeah, because I got for my promo packs, I got Basri Angels,
which is mythic rare,
mythic and a rare.
And if Riley can do it, everybody
can do it.
Anybody can do it. Trust me.
All right, and then I got a mythic common here, the Chandra Spellcasting, obviously for just burning out your opponent. But what's really cool is if you get the spellcasting with Chandra, you're automatically getting a Chandra Pyroling, a Heartfire Immolator, Kinetic Augur, Lightning Visionary, Thermal Alchemist, and there's a possibility of you getting a second Young Pyromancer. So you could have a deck with 2 Young Pyromancers plus all these other creatures that really care about casting spells. You could really have a fun time there with that combo.
Oh yeah, definitely a couple of young peasies.
Yeah, I love Young Pyromancer. An easy one I think is Angels Above the Clouds, rare and common. This is just classic blue-white flyers. And then also, I think that's the Angel set has a couple creatures that care about having a flying creature on the board, and they can do things like tap down your opponent's creatures and stuff like that as well. So there's a little bit of flying synergy and being able to get to the later parts of the game with those guys. And then I have a couple of the commons. We got Minions Predatory. So these guys have some, again, it's another sacrifice synergy one. Both the themes have cards that care about creatures dying, so they have the dying triggers. And then creatures, the Minions theme has some Graveyard Recursion cards.
You know what would have been a great addition to the Minions theme would have been a Crick, Son of Yawgmoth, because he's a minion.
Ooh.
That's true.
That's a missed opportunity right there.
Yeah, come on.
Man, I want to crack open some well-read goblins. That sounds pretty good.
I don't know if they can read.
No, these are smart goblins.
They're not goblin. They're not goblin grenade goblins.
I mean,
No.
they might be when it comes to that, I guess.
Yeah, when the chips are down.
Now's the time to become a grenade.
Yeah.
I've read about this.
Up to now, yeah, I've just been reading about explosives.
Yeah, I got to sacrifice myself for the greater good.
That's right.
The last little common was Legion Goblins. So obviously this is just going with like red, white, small stuff.
Right. Go wide with tokens.
Yeah. And the Legion side has a few cards that like pump up your guys. So on top of getting your wide board, you do get to pump them up so you can just smash in face.
Yeah, and it also, like, the Legion side also has Mentor of the Meek, so you're not, you're cycling through your deck if you have the mana to pay every time you drop a tiny creature.
Yeah, for sure.
Or not even, it even hits tokens, because it's just whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield, pay a 1, draw
Just
a
gotta
card.
pay that 1. Yeah.
What a great card. All right, so
Sweet.
let's move on to some of the notable reprints from this set. So I've got a few cards here. First off, I have Craterhoof Behemoth, a Commander All-Star, if there ever was one. I've heard people say it doesn't feel good to lose to a Craterhoof Behemoth, but I have to say, I think there are a lot more cards that feel a lot worse to lose to, because with Craterhoof, you have to have, if you let a player that, whether or not it's worse if they're going to be playing a Craterhoof Behemoth, but either way, if you let them amass a board full of creatures and they're in green, like mono green, or just mostly green, then I don't know. I mean, the game's got to end, is all I'm saying. Anyways,
There's a lot worse ways to die than to a Crater Hoof Behemoth, because at least Crater Hoof kills you, you know?
yeah, it's
You don't-
combat damage.
You don't have to wait there for, 20 minutes while somebody combos out solitaire style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I don't mind losing to the Crater Hoof, and I definitely like winning with it. So
Everybody's happy. So
Gotta
I
respect.
remember when I bought this card and I felt terrible because I bought it right before Modern Masters 2017 was announced as a product. And I bought the Avacyn Restored copy at about $30. And it was reprinted in 2017 in Modern Masters. And since then, it went down to about $10 at that time. And since then, it's gone way past the $30 value. So it's like the pre-order prices are about like 35 right now USD. So I think if you need copies of these for decks, I think I'd watch this, and then the next couple of weeks, it's probably going to dip down to maybe 30 to 25. But I don't think this card's ever going to dip back down to $10 unless it gets reprinted, maybe in Zendikar Rising or even Commander Masters. I think would really make this card take a hit, which is sort of the situation another card on my list is at. But I think if you need these for decks in the next month would be the time to pick them up.
And
I agree with you there.
I think the sad thing is, even if it does get reprinted into standard, like, I don't even know if it would see play.
Oh, in standard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would see play in standard, man. Come on.
You think? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think so.
Believe
There's the
in
decks
something,
that are
Riley.
going for they're going for Ugin. If you just play out all your mana dorks and hit a Crater Hoof, you're like, hey, I got 6 7/7s coming at your face. What's up?
Yeah, but is Crater Hoof better than ramping into Ugin? I feel like Ugin, I don't know. It's like, do I want do I want to win now or win a little bit later?
Yeah, that's the thing. And Crater Hoof lets you win now.
I guess. I don't know. I'm not convinced.
All right, well, I think that's a good place to move on to the next card on my list. It's Rise of the Dark Realms.
Heck yeah.
So this card has needed a reprint since I started playing Commander, and less because it's as ubiquitous as Crater Hoof, because I feel like I see Crater Hoof all the time. But like Crater Hoof, it's a card that will win you the game in many scenarios. I actually remember when I used to pilot a Fenix deck. I don't know if either of you guys remember this deck, but it was a Dimir
mill one.
Yeah, it was a Dimir Mill deck. And I had Rise from the Dark Realms in it as a potential win condition. And in a lot of situations, I would sometimes traumatize myself and then cast Dark Realms if my graveyard was juicy enough. So that's just one example. And another one, actually, where Crashing Drawbridge would come in handy from our...
Totally.
Yeah, love that card.
Yeah. I have to say, both these cards that we've talked about, and like, I don't know if the reprints from this Jumpstart set, like, we'll have to see. Like, definitely everybody keep your eyes out if you're looking for these cards. But I don't know if the price is going to dip too much just for how this set works with how it's printed. But I definitely need to pick myself up one of those Dark Realms. So,
and we were kind of talking about that before we started recording in terms of because the packs themselves have different rarities, so a mythic from a common themed pack is going to be more common. Than a myth. A common mythic. It's going to be more common than a mythic from a mythic themed pack. So yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see how these different very high value reprints like Crater Hoof or like Oracle of Moldiah are really going to flesh out after all this is said and done. And also because this is a print to demand set, but we were also talking about before the show how it's kind of difficult to find pre-order listings to buy boxes at this point.
Yeah, so we'll have to see, like, after this first print run, maybe if it just sells out instantly, Wizards will be like, okay, let's do another print run, So
Yeah, this is a very unique set. Even just this recording, like haven't pre-ordered a box yet. Riley has, and two. There you go, good man. And like this is just such a cool product. Like it would just be so cool to just sit down and play a few games, and you could do this. You know, if it was just two people, you could do it 12 times with one box. That's a lot of fun. Not to mention these reprints that I'm going to continue with. So the next card I have on my list is Black Market. This is a solid commander card that definitely needs to be reprinted regularly to keep it creeping back up to $15 because the free mana that it allows you to have is often expensive. Like financially is what I mean. Expensive.
It definitely is a very good ramp card.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the last card on my reprints list is Phyrexian Tower. So I don't know why, but for the longest time, I thought this card was on the reserve list. I think I would get it confused with Volrath Stronghold. And also because it was the black land from the land cycle from Urza Saga. And like we have Sarah Sanctum and Guy's Cradle on the reserve list. And maybe Tolarian Academy. I don't know.
Was printed in Ultimate Masters.
It was. Yeah, you're right. And the flavor text from the Ultimate Masters printing is much better than the Urza Saga printing. But this card is probably going to dip down to under $10 with this reprint. And I'm probably going to pick up a few copies for my black decks just because the ability on a land it just gives you so much utility. It's almost a free sack outlet as long as you keep it untapped. But it's just so having this kind of ability just makes it so much less profitable for your opponents to target your creatures with removal spells. I mean, if there was a card that was like, if there was a card that was, let's say, like, I think saying 0 mana is too powerful. Let's say 1 mana. And it was just like pay 0, sacrifice a creature. That card would see play. In Commander, I mean. I think that would see play.
Oh, yeah, just a free sacrifice outlet.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they do see play.
Yeah.
So being able to have it on the land.
Yeah, just it's almost a free slot in your deck. But I definitely think these are going to dip down to below $10. So if you've been looking to get Phyrexian Towers for your decks, now's the time, everybody.
Yeah. A couple other notable ones. Exquisite Blood's getting that reprint.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yes, in the Vampires packs.
In the Vampires packs, yeah.
That card was getting very expensive, like almost to like the $40 range.
Totally. So that's going to be another nice one to see. We got Ristic Study popping up again.
Oh yeah, now at Rare.
Yeah. It's at Rare.
Yeah.
And you mentioned him briefly, but Oracle of Moldiah seeing a reprint as well.
Yep. Yeah, definitely needs a reprint. That card was like $40.
And I've been looking at doing a mono black deck, and I really wanted a Ghoul Caller Gisa. I didn't even notice how much that card had gone up.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's pretty spicy.
Is that the commander of your deck, Eric?
No. It's the I was trying to put together the one that we did on the show.
Oh, Ayara.
Yeah.
First of Lochthwain. Classic. Go back and listen to episode 20 something if you want to hear about that deck tech. I'm sorry, I don't remember offhand which episode
it was. It's a fun one. But yeah, and then to talk a little bit more about how these packs work, it'll be interesting to see how I was kind of like looking at them, and it looks like whenever there's like a mythic in the commons, it is like only in one of the 4.
Right.
So it's like, what are the chances of like you getting a mythic pack, because you're getting that mythic card for sure in the mythic rarity, but then also how rare is the one kind of pack from the commons to get that mythic as well? Like what are we going to see here?
Yeah. It's exactly. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this all ends up. So, shall we move on to the new cards in this set?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it up.
Okay, I will take it away, and we will read off these cards just because they're new and nobody's heard of them before. So, first card on my list is Brevik the Grandiloquent. It is a legendary creature, human advisor for 2 and a blue. He's a 1/4. If an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill twice that many cards. So it's always fun to have this kind of doubling effect on a card. And although I don't think this commander will make a mill strategy more viable than it already is in the format, it will make some waves at whatever table it's at. And just be like, I'm not sure how much we're going to see this as a commander in a mono blue mill deck, because I think mill decks function much better with blue and black.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But I do think this will see a lot of play in the 99. That being said, if you are interested in hearing more about this mono blue creature as a commander, you can stay tuned for our next episode. And that's a bit of an Easter egg, by the way.
Ooh, what's that?
Spoiler.
Oh man, $45.99 USD. I'm not buying that.
All right. I do like one white card here we have, and it is Emil the Blessed. So our legendary creature unicorn. This is 2 of anything and 2 white for a 4/4. You pay 3 to exile another target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay Selesnya. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on it. If it's a unicorn, put 2 1/1 counters on it instead.
Unicorn
Ooh.
tribal.
Finally, after all these years.
Obviously, this is a fun blink kind of card. It's cool that you do get the Selesnya from the ability, so you can play 2 colors with this guy. I don't think I really care about the unicorns getting extra counters. That's a nice little flavor thing there for sure.
Yeah.
But I am so ready to start blinking some white and green cards with this commander.
Yeah. It's an interesting design space in the sense that, they give you a broken ability mixed with a jank tribe. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it definitely doesn't need the unicorn piece, but of course they're like, okay, it's a legendary unicorn, let's throw people a bone.
Let's throw people a horn.
Oh.
Oh, got him.
Yeah, and by broken ability, you mean because you can just sink the mana into it and just do it repeatedly, and it's all colorless.
Yeah, there's a few infinite combos that you can do with this. So,
Yeah.
All right, Riley, let's move on to you. What do you got?
Well, why don't I just start from the top of my list and talk about Allosaurus Shepherd.
There we go.
So, green, elf shaman, 1/1. Awesome. Allosaurus Shepherd can't
That's
it. So he can't be countered. Green spells you control can't be countered. Not just creatures, green spells. And you can pay 4 green, and until the end of turn, each elf creature you control has base power and toughness 5/5 and becomes a dinosaur in addition to its other creature types. For the life of me, I don't understand why he turns them into dinosaurs. I mean, he is an Allosaurus shepherd, so whatever. Yeah, he's a shepherd for dinosaurs, but why does he turn his fellow companions into dinosaurs?
It's fine. You can turn them back after.
Every single elf gets to ride an Allosaurus. So now that they're riding an Allosaurus, they're like a dinosaur because it's like a 5/5, right?
Oh, okay. I can see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Right on, Eric. That's good.
That's okay.
All right.
Okay, so he's not casting a spell on his friends and turning them into dinosaur elves. He's just giving
them a dinosaur to ride.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I was just trying to picture dinosaur elves and.
With those
I wish I
little
could
arms.
see those.
Okay, but this card is freaking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So, this is gonna see play in Legacy Elves, for sure. It's gonna see play in any kind of Elf Ball tribal deck you've got going in Commander. This card is just a house. You know, it sets up your game early and kills your opponent's dead.
Yeah, you could always unsubstantiate it though, just to avoid it completely. That's a callback.
Always the unsubstantiate.
But oh my goodness, 55.69 USD. Oh my wow. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
That's
definitely. Like, even if you're not running an elf deck, even just having this in your deck to have your green spells can't be countered is also like a pretty strong ability.
absolutely
Sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Why not?
No doubt. Oh yeah. Oh, you know what, Eric? I hadn't even thought of that. I was gonna put this in Azuri, but in Yisan, you could just with first verse counter, you could go search up Allosaurus Shepherd. Whew.
Get one of these guys into
There you go.
Yisan.
Oh boy, that's a real time deck include, everybody. Wow.
Look at that.
Okay,
Mind
so next up is a card from my list. It's Tiny Bones Trinket Thief. Tiny Bones is 1 and a black for a legendary creature skeleton rogue. It's a 1/2. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent discarded a card this turn, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. And then you can pay 4 and 2 black. Each opponent with no cards in hand loses 10 life. I was thinking about building a commander deck around this card, but then I decided I still wanted to have you guys come over and play Magic with me. So that being said, I still think it's a really cool card, especially since the second ability is a mana sink, and I always love a good mana sink. And with all the black mana doubling effects that we have access to, you could keep dumping mana into this ability until an opponent with no cards in hand is dead. That's definitely an option, but you have to get them to discard those cards first, and that's where the rage comes in, which is it's just a problem for me in Magic.
Yeah, if you think people don't like being milled, just wait until you play a discard deck.
Exactly. And I think the most interesting thing for players trying to build around this card in Commander is going to be how to build it so the rest of the table has fun playing against it.
Yeah, I built a discard deck a few times. I switched out the Commander a few times. And at the end of the day, I played it like once and made everybody salty.
It just doesn't feel good.
I just didn't really have a good time. Like, it was good. It felt fun for a split second until everybody was genuinely pissed off.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
Just angry. Who is this guy?
It doesn't feel good. Which is probably why Leovold was banned in the format. It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
cool.
that being said,
warning.
very, very cool card. Yeah.
Very cool card. Big distractions mean tiny nuances can slip by unnoticed.
That's right.
Nuisances. What the hell?
Nuances could also slip by unnoticed, I
Oh
think.
boy.
No,
Oh
it's
boy. It's been a
close.
lot.
I've definitely done that when reading aloud, so don't sweat it.
Okay, next up, I got a blue card here. Iniaz, the Gale Force. So it's 3 of anything and 2 blue for a legendary Djinn. It's a 4/4 flyer, and you can play 2 and Azorius. Attacking creatures with flying get +1/+1 until end of turn. So that's just a straight up mana sink. And then whenever 3 or more creatures you control with flying attack, each player gains control of a non-land permanent of your choice controlled by the player to their right. Isn't that just so weird?
Yeah, it reminds me of like Pramicon or that artifact from the same set that reversed the turn order, Aeon Engine, I think. Aeon Engine. Cards like this always seem so much fun because they just change the rules of the game.
Totally. And this one kind of like slowly messes with the board more and more. Because if you can keep attacking with flying creatures every single time, you just move a permanent over to the right for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And
just make sure you have some expendable permanents, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like gold tokens or something.
Yeah.
Well, like Iniaz is flying, obviously cares about flying, so just do a bunch of flying things, get some flying tokens.
Yeah, just flying tokens. Toss them around.
Toss them around. Why not?
This whole cycle of legends, like Emil is part of this cycle, where they're monocolored. They have a monocolored casting cost, but then they're a dual colored creature is always a lot of fun. I remember when I first built my first mono blue deck in Commander, which was Memnarch. And I know you guys love that deck. And
It's great.
and I was looking up cards to put in the deck, and when I realized, oh, it's not just it's not just an artifact deck, it's a blue deck, and that was quite a watershed moment for me. And I was like, oh, it's the name of the movie.
What?
From earlier. Riley, what do you got?
All right. Let's talk about some devils here. Spiteful Prankster. So for 2 and a red, you get a 3/2 devil. And it says, as long as it's your turn, Spiteful Prankster has first strike. And whenever another creature dies, it deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. So this reminded me a lot of Blood Artist. Kind of like a Blood Artist effect in red. Obviously, you're not getting that life gain, but it also has an upside of being able to hit planeswalkers, and it still cares about everybody's creatures, right? With the exception of itself, obviously, but still, that kind of aristocrat type feel would probably slot into something nicely into like Rakdos Aristocrats or like a mono red Devils deck, obviously.
Yeah. Jeez. Fit right in there. The next card on my list is a Sphinx. It's Ormos Archive Keeper. So Ormos is 4 and 2 blue for a legendary creature Sphinx, 5/5 with flying. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, instead put 5+1/+1 counters on Ormos Archive Keeper. And then you can pay 1 and 2 blue, discard 3 cards with different names to draw 5 cards. It's always nice to have a contingency for drawing from an empty library, even if it doesn't win you the game. But it's the second ability on this card that really caught my interest. In Commander, we often have nothing but cards in our hands with different names, especially if we're playing, 2 or 3 or 4 color decks. So this ability can do a lot of work when you're netting 2 cards every time you activate it. Again, fantastic mana sink. They, instead of calling this set Jumpstart, they should have called it mana sink. But all that being said, a more degenerate way to use this ability would be to create an infinite mana loop in conjunction with a Labman type effect, and then you win the game.
You would just need to. Well, can you? I guess you can stack the triggers.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So you'd be okay.
What do you mean, Eric?
Well, how does Labman work?
If you would,
because these are both replacement effects. I don't know how.
Yeah, I think you would get to choose which replacement effect happens.
Goes first, right?
If you draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. Is the text on Labman?
Yeah, so it's also a replacement effect.
Yeah, so they're both like a trigger that'll happen from it, and then you can choose to have the Labman's result first.
Yeah, because if you stack it the other way, then Labman's going to see that you didn't draw a card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the watching this card again. I saw that ability at the bottom, and I was like, 3 mana to gain 2 cards. I think that's pretty good mana sink.
And in this format in particular, in the limited Jumpstart format, it's not going to take too long from using that second ability to just have no cards left in your library and start putting counters on Ormos. So, he doesn't have any, he doesn't have hexproof or anything, so he's easy to target. But if you could give it hexproof, then you might figure something out.
If you ever want to live on the edge, just go all
it's
in,
definitely living on the edge. But there's not many removal cards in Jumpstart, so if you are playing the format, you probably have a good chance if you get Ormos out there to just go for it.
Oh yeah, I'm just thinking in commander context. But
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course. No.
it's
No,
interesting to
no.
see that it's a mono blue rummage effect. Like usually you'd see a looting effect in blue, but
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's also because you are gaining cards out of it.
sure.
Like, yes, you are discarding first, but you're gaining 2 more cards compared to just being like 1 for 1.
Yeah,
or
if you
whatever.
drawing 5 cards and then discarding 3 seems a little
OP.
too powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
That seems like living in the fridge. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Well,
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
especially
Fridge
since
life.
it does have that contingency if it has to be 3 different names, right? So that's probably why they had to format it that way, because otherwise you would, I guess, have an illegal ability, which would be weird. Like draw 5, then discard 3 cards with different names. That would not work half the time.
Yeah, because it's like, what if you can't do it?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, oh well.
Yeah, plus they probably did it because it's flavorful to real life, because most of us have 3 different names, so it's like, oh, I can relate to that.
Wow. I never thought of that.
No, I'm kidding.
I've got 4 names.
Whoa, take it easy, Riley.
All right, then.
Mister, I have 2 middle names.
Yeah.
Yeah, ooh, all right.
Must be nice.
Okay, I'm going to move us on here. Next card is my last blue one. And it's another Sphinx, the Scholar of the Lost Trove. So 5 anything and 2 blue for a 5/5 Sphinx with flying. When Scholar of the Lost Trove enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant, sorcery, or artifact card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If an instant sorcery spell be cast this way, exile it instead of putting it in your graveyard.
It's really nice that it hits artifacts.
I like that.
I'm definitely going to try and slot this into my mono blue Unesh deck.
Yeah, like, why not?
Yeah, what have I got to lose? And if Unesh is on the battlefield, it only costs 5. No big deal.
Oh, man.
5 mana, 5/5, and I get to kind of factor fiction.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, almost.
Almost. And then, like, in a lot of artifact decks, I think this card can slot right in. Like, it is 7 mana, but also, if you're milling over stuff and you, like, accidentally mill over something pretty big, you can just cast a free artifact by throwing this on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's what's so great about it, is you just get to cast it for free. It's kind of nuts.
Oh, yeah. It's also an ETB effect, so blinking this thing just gets you ridiculous value.
Yeah, well, all the real Brago players, please stand up, right?
Yeah, yep.
All right. My next one, we've got Zerzoth, Chaos Rider. So
Ooh,
for
nice.
2 and a red, you get a 2/3 devil. And he says, whenever an opponent draws their first card each turn, if it's not their turn, you create a 1/1 red devil creature token with, when it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And whenever 1 or more devils you control attack 1 or more players, you and those players each draw a card, then discard a card at random.
Oh, that hurts.
It's so good. I just like Zerzoth because we haven't had a devil commander before, and
No, we
like
haven't.
devils have always been kind of this weird fringe tribe, and I love janky fringe tribes. So
Yeah, and we have, I mean, I guess you could have a devil commander with Morophon, but that's too easy.
yeah, that's boring.
Morphon's still the fake.
Oh, guys, you guys don't have any love for Morophon, huh?
You know what? I love Morophon, but like running a 5-color commander just to play red feels a little bit odd.
But you can, like, splash and ramp and stuff and make the devils come out quicker.
That's true, but they're also just devils.
Yeah, don't bog them down with ramp.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
That's not what they're there for. Okay,
No,
so
he's a flavor win.
he is definitely. So my I think that's the flavor win of this episode. So the next card I have here is actually 5 cards. So I'm cheating. Sorry, guys. It's like a set review when I cheat. It's like when I cheat on Weight Watchers.
Oh my god.
So it's the Thriving Land Cycle. So
Right.
the Thriving Cycle, there are commons, they're non-basic lands. They enter the battlefield tapped, and as Thriving whatever enters the battlefield, choose a color other than, for this example, it's Thriving Bluff. So choose a color other than red. You can add a red to your mana pool or one mana of the chosen color. Although I won't be putting these lands into any of my decks, I do think this is really cool design space because we all run dual lands in our 2 to 3 to whatever, 5 color decks, and find ourselves in situations where we need to fix another color like red, but we have to play at that moment. All that we have in our hand is a breeding pool, and so we only have blue and green. And these lands kind of solve that potential problem of being pigeonholed by the dual land we have in our hand at that moment. And they're also a great budget option, but I really don't see them seeing play in a deck that is less than 3 colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only spot I see them is like 3 or more colors. It's kind of another
Tri-land.
even in it's like another tri-land, right?
Kind of. Yeah, it just gives you that third option. And I was thinking about these lands, and I was thinking, like, why this kind of land cycle? And I think it makes a ton of sense for this set because most of the themes in this set are monocolored. So when you buy a box or you go to a store to play or you buy a couple of packs at Crawlmart or something, you shuffle 2 packs together to make your limited deck. So you don't know what the color combo is going to be, especially if you put on a blindfold or something like Eric wants to do. Yeah. So they took this route with the land cycle instead of a more traditional duels where they enter the battlefield and you gain a life or just guild gates. Because those cards would be dead cards probably a lot more often in this set than they would be in a regular draft set, which didn't really occur to me when I first saw these lands revealed. I was just kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense for this set.
Yeah, so yeah, just very, very, very cool cards. Whoa, geez, Thriving Bluff, 238 USD? Come on.
Budget my ass.
That's not out yet.
I got daycare to pay for, guys.
So we have said it. These legendary creatures with the 2 colors and the abilities are really cool. And the next one
We've said it and we're saying it again.
Kel's Fight Fixer. So it's 2 anything and 2 black for the legendary Azra Warlock.
Azra,
Nice.
ooh.
That's pretty spicy.
Ooh, Azra.
Hey, if you wanted to do an Azra tribal deck, you could use Morphon, right?
Are there any other Azras?
That's
Well, you're gonna have to supplement with changelings. You're gonna have to supplement.
Quite a bit, eh?
There are 8 total Azras.
Wow!
In Magic.
Wow! I'm surprised.
That is
including
more than
Kel's.
That's more.
That is way more than I ever would have thought.
I thought there was 1.
So 6 of them are from Battle Bond.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then one is from Modern Horizons, so
Okay.
it's new.
So it was introduced in Battle Bond.
Yes.
Okay,
It's
cool.
new. It's new. All right. Sorry to interrupt you, Eric.
Hey, it's all good. So the Kel's, she is a 4/3 with Menace. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may pay Dimir. If you do, draw a card. And then you can pay 1 and sack a creature. Kel's gains indestructible until end of turn. So it's like for 2 mana, you can sack a creature, which makes her indestructible, swing in, you're fine, and by sacking that creature, you can pay the mana to also draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and pairing this with what is it? Is it not Phyrexian altar, but what's the altar that generates
Ashnon
Ashnod's altar?
Ashnod.
yeah
Yeah.
Good combo there.
generates 3 mana, 3 colorless mana.
2.
2.
Oh no,
right? It costs.
Ashnod's is 2 colorless, but there's one
colorless.
that produces colored mana.
Oh, Phyrexian
Oh.
altar.
Is it
It,
Phyrexian?
it produces 1 mana of any colors. Phyrexian
black.
altar.
Oh, first, yeah.
I
is
thought
that what you're
Phyrexian
thinking
was
of?
the one that mills.
No.
No, you sacrifice a creature because it was reprinted in Ultimate Masters. It was very expensive for the longest time because it was only printed in Invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you add 1 mana of any color.
Yeah, that's the combo I'm thinking about.
That'll do some work.
Yeah, that's a nice little combo. But of course, I really find this one interesting, and doing some sort of sacrifice combo with the Dimir colors, I'm sure is going to be really fun. So this commander looks like a ton of joy.
Yeah, and anytime you can give your commander, I mean, if the commander just has Indestructible, that's great as a keyword ability. But
Yeah.
just being able to pay 1, sacrifice a creature, and you have the added value on the commander when you sacrifice a creature to give it Indestructible, it's just so smooth. It's just like a nice cup of coffee, you know?
Yeah, you're just turning your little minions into clues.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
don't turn Crick into a clue because he's not a little minion. Okay, he's Crick.
This is not the minion you're looking for.
That's right. That's right. Move along.
All right. Next up, I've got Naiath of the Dire Hunt. So for 2 green, you get a 3/3 human warrior, a legendary human warrior. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control fight or become blocked, you draw a card. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 2 and a hybrid Gruul. And if you do, double target creature's power until end of turn. That creature must be blocked this combat if able.
Force and blocks. I like it.
yeah.
It's like provoke.
Yeah, it's like a prey upon tribal deck that just lures people's creatures into your dorks, and you have a good time.
And it's nice to see WotC trying to make fight great for the first time.
I don't know if it's the first time.
It's like what is it like? Make fight great for it's too long to put it on a
Make
hat.
fight relevant once.
Yeah, that's good. That's much better. That's why you're on the show, Riley, because you're a smart guy.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to brewing some ideas around this commander.
Yeah, I like
You're
it.
going to put all the fight spells in it?
Yeah, or even just that secondary clause of basically getting like almost like a berserk effect on a body seems pretty fun too.
Yeah, and you could also put do a keyword search for creatures with provoke and forcing blocks like that. You could probably also find some diamonds in the rough there as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just have this whole deck that just like kills your opponent's deck.
Yeah.
Kill the deck.
Kill the deck.
I killed your deck dead.
That was it for my list. Do you guys have more cards on your lists?
I've got a few more.
All right, so
yeah.
Eric, you keep going, guys. Keep going without me, but don't leave me behind, please.
Try not to.
All right.
Let's talk about the Witch of the Moors. So 3 of anything and 2 black for a 4/4 human warlock. It's got Death Touch. And at the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, each opponent sacks a creature and you return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand.
I was so choked that this wasn't a legendary creature.
Yeah, it seems dope.
I think the design space is really interesting. It's obviously a Sheoldred, but the trigger works all at once instead of on each person's turn, and it's based around life gain. So any of those white-black life gain decks out there are obviously, I think, just going to throw this card in there. And many hands for many evils.
Oh, so many.
Witch of the Moors.
So it's funny that it's Witch of the Moors, but it's a human warlock. I don't know if that means it's like a dude, but I don't know.
Yeah, definitely the art. It looks like a person
Is
with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
do we
hands?
have witch creature types? Are there witch creature types?
I don't. I mean, we have
the
like
Bog Brew Witch?
Witches of Kamboju. That's a great popper card. I run that in my
Yeah.
mono
Oh,
black
Human Wizard.
land destruction.
Yeah, I think it's usually wizards and warlocks that we see.
Yeah.
I don't know
so
if we
it's,
have
it's
an
like
actual witch.
yeah, in the vein of Harry Potter, or rather, Harry Potter's in the vein of MTG. Yeah. First J.K. Rowling hates trans people, and now this. I'm shocked.
Oh my God, Kevin.
That's not even a hot take.
No, I know.
That's just fact.
Yeah, just
That's not even. And I
Visit-
love Harry Potter, so I was very.
just
I was
visit
very.
social media
I was very
once.
disappointed by that. I was very disappointed by the things that she said because she's just wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a hot take. I don't know, but
No, I don't think
Anyways.
that's a hot take. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah.
All right, back to the cards, the card game. Next up, I've got Sethron, Hurloon General.
Oh
So-
man, this is so good.
Yeah, for 3 red. You've got a 4/4 legendary Minotaur warrior, and when Sethron or another non-token Minotaur enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/3 red Minotaur creature token, and you can pay 2 and a Rakdos hybrid to have Minotaurs you control get +1/+0 and gain menace and haste until end of turn.
Neheb, get out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is the
like,
new-
if you're looking for a true Minotaur general, like this has your back. This guy's
And
great.
he's a general.
Oh yeah, he's a Hurloon general.
Hurloon general.
But his name, like, have you guys thought about the name? Like, I whenever I hear Sethron, I just think of saffron olive because Seth.
Oh,
Saffron,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sethron.
I actually, yeah, no, that's, and he's got like, he's a little beardy guy. Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see it.
yeah. He's a little scraggly Minotaur.
Yeah. And he's pretty menacing, when he's like, and budget magic against the odds. Yeah. No,
right.
I love Seth.
I
No,
I love Seth very much.
All,
but,
all kidding aside. Yeah. No, he's, I love the content.
Yeah.
Also, something interesting about how this general works is so there are actual older Minotaurs. One is a Hurloon Minotaur, and the other is a Hurloon Shaman, and they're both 2/3s.
Yeah.
And so
That's a pretty common
Sethron
rate.
makes Hurloons.
Yeah. Yeah, 2/3 is a pretty common Minotaur rate. Like, even if you look at the original Theros block, like 2/3 was pretty common.
And it's,
Was it that common? I thought I was looking through. It wasn't.
Yeah, like Fury of Horns, you make 2/3 Minotaurs. There's like a couple Shamans that are.
For the
like,
tokens.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of Minotaurs that are like 2/3 is very uncommon for the Minotaurs themselves, but I didn't look at the tokens.
I feel like I see 2/3 Minotaurs everywhere.
and it's just fun to say Hurloon.
Hurloon is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has to say Hurloon.
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 All right, Eric.
There's also Talroon.
That's how that's from this day forth. That's how
we
I'll
shouldn't
say
fall down this rabbit hole of loons here.
it. No, you're right.
Well, the Talroons are 3/3s. But anyways,
You think your Talroons are better than my Hurloons?
I think they are.
All right.
Oh frick. Okay, I got a red sorcery here. Immolating Gyre.
Hey, me too.
Hey. So 4 of anything and 2 red. For a sorcery, Immolating Gyre deals X damage to each creature and planeswalker you don't control, where X is the number of instant sorcery cards in your graveyard.
Yeah, get wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what really takes this card over the top for me is the don't control clause.
Yeah. One-sided board wipe. Hello.
Love
Yeah,
it.
this is
Love
like in Garrick's wake for Riel.
Yeah. And then also the friggin' flavor text. Nice army you had there. It's good. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
But yeah, if you're running a Spellslinger deck, Immolating Gyre, just throw it in.
Yeah, seems great. Except turn one.
Else. Except for everyone else.
All right. Last card for me. Branching Evolution. For 2 and a green,
Hey.
you get an enchantment, and it says if one or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, twice that many +1/+1 counters are put on that creature instead. And I'm looking at you, Halar.
Yeah, this is like the other, because like Parallel Lives is like the token half of Doubling Season. This is the other half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But only for creatures. I know Doubling Season hits everything.
And have you guys like looked at the artwork? The artwork's great.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like a 2-headed swan, like a fucking elk with 4 horns, a panther with 2 tails, a snake with 2 heads, rabbits with 4 ears, and flamingos with 4 legs.
And they're still only standing on one. That's crazy.
Did you...
Great stuff.
There's like monkeys or squirrels in the background too.
Are there?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're like
yeah.
on the tree.
Yeah. I thought that was just the tree.
It's hard to see, but yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
I thought we should get some goblin talk in here as well.
All right.
There's Muxus, Goblin Grandee. So 4 of anything and 2 red for a Goblin Noble. 4/4. When Muxus, Goblin Grandee enters the battlefield, reveal the top 6 cards of your library. Put all Goblin creature cards with CMC cost 5 or less from among them onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And when Muxus attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each other Goblin you control.
Oh, Goblin Recruiter, and then cast this? Nice.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Very nice.
And you can even put him on the top, and then you know you're drawing him next.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even have to run him as commander. No, just stick with Krenko.
Yeah, there's definitely better goblin commanders in my opinion, but he might be a spicy include in the 99.
Yeah, especially if you're running a recruiter, just like throw him in there, because then you're going to get this guy, and you're going to get a bunch of goblins on the battlefield.
Yeah,
and I
there's
think
also ways just to win the game though. Like
you mean
fair.
by not playing mono red goblins?
no, I mean in mono red goblins, there are now more consistent ways to just combo out and kill your opponents.
Oh, 3860 USD. I can't afford this set, guys.
Yeah, all these like new cards are very expensive.
It's still pre-release price, so let's just let it chill.
All right, I'm gonna let it chill.
Better chill. All right, I think we're done there.
All right, everybody. Well, then we're going to bring this episode to a close. We'd love to hear about your Jumpstart experiences. So email us if you have some funny stories. It doesn't have to just be about Magic. I'll read anything. We'd like to thank you all for listening, and we'd also like to thank our lovely editor Ainsley for the behind-the-scenes work that she does every week. And we have to thank the Instagram user Cube Draft for sending me a Mirage Rampant Growth for my League deck. After seeing the post I'd made for my homemade proxies, he got in touch with me and offered to send me some cards. He sent some other goodies as well, but I just wanted to mention that and say thanks again, and to follow Cube Draft on Instagram if you enjoy quality MTG content.
Super cool.
Yeah. If you want to find us individually, you can find me at Command Beacon on Instagram. Eric doesn't trust social media, so you can't find him anywhere. And Riley, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Riles Dayton or on Instagram at Riley_Dayton.
Yeah, tweet at Riley. He'll hit you back.
Yeah, I'll talk to you.
Riley's really nice. He'll talk to anybody. And before you hop to the next episode, go ahead and check out any of the links in the show notes that might interest you. Thank you again for listening. We appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody. See you later.
Goodbye.
Bye now.
Turn one soul ring.
Hi, Ainsley. Bye, Ainsley.